the latest episode of The Claw's Corner. Today's guest is a guitarist, singer, actor, screenwriter, composer, director, and editor. His bands include Violent Industry, Gargantua Soul, Alcoholica, and Tokyo Death Squad. His movies include Cupcake, Gray Skies, High Road Dreams of Vengeance, and the notorious documentary, I Sold My Soul for Satan. So please welcome the extremely talented and the extremely versatile Kai Blackwood to The Claw's Corner. How are you, Kai?
Good, man. How's it going, Rich?
Going very well. We have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
As I was saying off the air, I've known you for 34 years, so I have 34 years worth of material to go over. But I want to start with the present, because very recently I saw that you were on Facebook. You got a Kickstarter for the movie that's in the background called Gray Skies. It was originally released in 2010. You want to redo it. Why now?
Truth? Fucking truth is cool. I swear. All right, yeah, truth is I was very, very unhappy with the original cut, like incredibly unhappy with it. And I didn't really have anything to do with the actual cut. That's a long story. But yeah, so it took me a long time to be able to actually look at it again without being crushed. It took me over 10 years to look at it. When I finally could sit down with it, because that was part of my contract, was I got a director's cut. It took me 11 years to do it, but I finally did it. A lot of work.
And as you were saying on the Facebook post, that it's all your money. That's why you're raising money. The studio isn't putting anything behind it to help you out. So you're raising it all yourself to make it the version that you want it to be.
Right, correct. I mean, I finished editing it. I will probably tweak it more. I'll tweak till it's dead. But there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things I can't do that I don't have the skills to do. I found out I can do more than I thought. But I need a sound guy come in and mix it. I need someone to help tweak the effects. There's a lot of effects that I added that weren't in it before. So there's a lot. There's a lot to do. And even if it were just to even if I use the money and I bought the programs myself, because I can't afford that shit, you know what I mean? But if I can buy the programs myself, then I'll figure it out and I'll do it. That's fine too. Whatever. I want to finish it and get it done. I did all the music again, literally redid all the entire music, recorded it all myself here in my lovely little tiny studio.
You know what it reminds me of? Very recently, Sylvester Stallone took Rocky IV, which is one of my favorites, with Ivan Drago. He redid the whole thing and they re-released it. I think it was, I want to say, the 34th anniversary, whatever it was an anniversary. So he redid the whole, and it wasn't just, he made a couple cuts here and there. He redid the music, took out many scenes, added a lot more. So it's similar to what you're doing with this. It's going to be a brand new movie. What I like about you is you made a comment, Gray Skies is about aliens, and there wasn't even a spaceship in the movie.
It was true. I mean, it was a very micro budget film. And I mean, while we were doing it, this is my naivety and whatever. While we were doing it, I thought in post-production we'd be able to do things like that, but that never happened. And like I said, things are what they are, and the control kind of just got taken away from me after that. And ended up with a film I was incredibly unhappy with, because it wasn't what I was shooting. We were on such a micro budget that when I shot, what I was doing, I knew what I was doing. I had it all planned out in my head. I even had edits planned out. I knew how I was going to do this, but they didn't get that. So when they've handed it off to people to edit it, they didn't get it either. And it was a real, it was unpleasant. It really was. It's no secret anymore. I was quiet about it for a long time, but I mean, I think it's no secret. Everybody knows I was incredibly unhappy with it.
Well, you were on one of my other incarnations of this show, and I think you said during the commentary you walked out. I remember you mentioning something.
I certainly did. I did. I'm not good at faking stuff like that, and I wasn't feeling it, and I was really feeling the animosity towards me, and I think it was a lot of misunderstanding stuff. I think the other people that were higher up, in the production level and stuff, just didn't understand what I was doing, but also they didn't have a vision of their own. So when you have a really strong vision, it's really hard to get people. But then I had a lot of power on set, and I think that kind of bothered some people too. He was like, Jesus Christ, guy walks in and everyone just does what he says. Right. That's my job.
I was going to say, that's the job of the director. Yeah. You have a vision and you have to guide people to what your vision is. So
That's right.
Unfortunately, there's so many egos.
You're dealing with just so many people. It's like, even that was a small, but it was just like you said, there's egos involved. There's like a lot of first time, myself included, like in that. But I mean, all you got to do is look at Cupcake, and which is why I got hired in the first place to do that. And I know what I want to do. You already know what I do. You can see it. There it is. And if you, not that you can tell from the original version, but you can tell from my cut completely. It's a completely different film now. It's an entirely different film. And you could tell this same guy that made Cupcake made this. There's a lot of the same similar themes and all that kind of stuff running through it.
If somebody wants to give money to your Kickstarter, is that still going on?
Yeah, it's actually I know it's unpopular at the time right now, but GoFundMe. It's the only thing I don't have time to or to be completely honest with you, I don't have the knowledge nor the whatever to, to set up a Kickstarter, do all that stuff. I don't know how to do that. I'm a single dad. I got an 8-year-old daughter who lives with me, you know what I mean? And I'm like, with everything that's been going on in the world right now, I just got dumped by my fucking girlfriend of almost 9 months, one of the most beautiful one I've ever been with. So I'm dealing with that too. So, my whole life is just a big mess. Fucking mess.
Drink up, everybody.
There you go.
This is going to be a fun interview.
Wow, that was a lot. Be prepared for more, dude, because I've been this is about the only time I've spoken to anyone other than my oldest daughter, I think my brother, and one other friend, back east. And literally all they've heard me do is either completely break down into incoherence or rant for, hours about how I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I feel like I'm losing my mind. All this stuff I got, outside of that whole, oh, dude, I want vengeance, but I'm not going to talk about that.
Well, we're going to talk about, speaking of vengeance, we're going to talk about your friend Hyro, but not yet.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go back to when I first met you, because as I mentioned, you were a musician also. So the year was 1988. I was in a metal band. You were in a band called Sapphire with a former guest, Christian Opus Lawrence. He's been on the show before. So Let's talk about your start in music, because at that time, I want to say you were 16, 17 years old.
I was 17, I think. Yeah. Yep.
You were the guitarist / singer.
That's right. Yep. And I grew up with Opus. I mean, he and I went to school together. I actually wrote the foreword for his book. He's got a book coming out. I wrote the foreword for it. So we go back way, way back, Yeah, man. I mean, you remember those days. It was RIP. There was us. That was, who else was that?
CFI, Sonic Plague.
Oh, I
Disaster,
loved CFI, man.
Black
I
Witch.
loved CFI. Oh my God. I forgot about Black Witch. Wow.
There's, you know what's funny? I love the fact that there's a lot of these people still around. I still see Ronnie's band, Curse the Sun, from Black Witch. Mike Z is still around. He's been on the show as well. Opus has 4 other bands, Earth and not Gargantua, it's called Dead by Wednesday.
And
so
the Horns one.
What was that?
The Horns one too, the brand new one he's got with the
Hail the Horns. Hail the whatever it is. I love the fact that all these people that we grew up playing music with, and you're still doing your thing in Hollywood right now. I love the fact that you guys are still doing. I'm not doing music anymore, but I moved on to. I'm still being creative. I went on to stand-up comedy. I wrote a book. I do motivational speaking. So I'm still busy. I'm doing this show.
I don't think there was any way that you could not. You of all people that I know could not continue, doing things that were creative in that way. I mean, that's how you've always been, dude. I could never see you any other way.
Let's have so many things I want to do, and I always say, why not do it? Let's just have some fun. So it's been a great run so far. No plans of stopping anytime. So you were in Sapphire for a while, then you changed it to Violent Industry, which was the same band, but you were pretty much some of the pioneers in that type of metal back in the 80s. You played all over.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Because you had a couple demos. I remember Granny Hatchet. For some reason, I remember that demo.
Kind of hard to forget that one.
Did that get you a record label?
No, we never got a record deal. We came very, very close. That story will haunt me till the day I die. And Opus knows she was
bringing
there.
up more bad memories here on the class.
No, that one I'm over now, but I'm still it was so crazy because I've always been one of those people who gets that close, and we were that close. way back when, I don't know, what did we do? We did a bunch of demos, like you said. And then right before we put out Wicked Children, which is that CD, I think we were literally the first band in the area to actually release a CD, like an actual CD. We were the first band to do it. And we put a lot of money and time into that whole thing. And right before that happened, Opus and I went to New York City, down to the record label. Like we all used to do this stuff. Like you find it in the old days with no internet, you find like on the back of the albums, you find the record companies and you go to the buildings of the record company. So Opus and I did that. They wouldn't let us up. So we went downstairs into where there was like a barrage of like phones, like a whole hallway of film. We called up and we just said we were lawyers for our own band. And finally East West let us up. And that was a part of, I think it was part of Atlantic at the time. Atlantic East West, I think so. It had big bands on it. And Wendy Berry, who was the A&R, brought me and Opus up. And we had like a demo, like right before the demos for Wicked Children. They were okay, they weren't bad. She liked it, but she was like, give me something else. But it was not like a slam. She was, at first when we came in, she's like, either you're the band or the coolest looking lawyers I ever saw. That's what she said. She sat down, she listened to it right in front of us, which they never do. I don't know if you've ever sat with A&R people, but they definitely don't do that. She just turned around, did this whole thing and listened to the whole thing.
Oh.
So we come back, we record more stuff and we come back and she flips. She loves it. It was autumn. It was stuff that ended up on the Wicked Children thing. And starts calling me at my house saying, she said, this is great. We need to talk more. I shit you not. She's calling me back. We're back and forth. Everyone's so excited. Everyone quits their jobs. Everyone's just like, holy shit, it's happening. And it was happening. And then she disappeared. You know what happened?
What?
She got pregnant. She was married to Jason Flom, who was the head of Lava. But at the time, I think he was high up in Atlantic. And she got pregnant with his kid and left the business.
Oh, come on.
Mm-hmm. Not even kidding. And then about a year later, we were playing at CBGB's. At CB's, of all places. We're playing at CB's. We hadn't played yet. The fucking bartender's like, Kai Blackwood. He's like yelling for me, like, what? He's like, you got a phone call. I was like, okay, I'm at CB's. Somebody's calling me at CB's. So I go pick up the phone. It's Wendy Berry. She's like, I'm thinking of getting back into business now. And I saw you guys were playing. I was going to make it down, but I couldn't, all that kind of stuff. And then again, boom, never heard from her again.
Oh my God. It's like a bad April Fool's joke.
It was so bad, dude. We were so close. I mean, when you're getting the calls back and forth like that. Like she was calling my house like nonstop. She's like, she even called me back. She was like, reciting some of the lyrics. And she's like, this is really good. She's like, we can really do something with this. Oh, anyway, that would have been a life changer.
It would have been, but you've done a lot of other things since then. I want to talk about that because after Final Industry, for what you played for a little while, you broke up. What was the next band after that?
After that, I did. What did I do after that?
I think let me refresh your memory. I think it was Gargantua Assault because Opus went on to that, and then you played guitar.
Oh, all right. So here's what happened. I started like my own trio and just called it Blackwood, and some of the songs ended up on my first solo record. But yeah, and it was just, like, I don't know, after like 10 years with those guys and stuff, I was really trying to figure out, like, and music was weird at that time too. At that very time, it was very strange. Yeah. So I wasn't really sure what was going on, and I was getting very freaked out. And then I signed like this solo deal. The next thing you know, I'm up in Canada making a record, like a real record, you know what I mean? In a giant studio that famous bands had like made this stuff, and it was awesome. And then that company, well, that guy was a crook too, but that company fell apart. And I was sitting around like, what am I gonna do? And who calls me? Opus. Yeah. He's like, yeah. And I was like, what is he calling me for? And yeah, he's like, you want to come and play with Cheese Soul? I was like, you know what? That might be exactly what I need to do right now, because I'm not normally a side guy, but maybe that's exactly what I need to do to get back all the way back in, get in a van, go on the road, that shit. So we did that. It was great. Believe it or not, I didn't think it was going to work for me, but it really did. For like 2 years, it worked really well. And those guys are all great.
I was gonna say, I know most of the guys in that band. They seemed like they were really good guys. Seemed like they just had, and they're another band that got so close to being signed so many times. Close. Yeah, and it's just sometimes I think it's worse when it's that close. I have a future guest. I'm not sure if you ever heard of guitarist Jimmy Bell. He
Oh,
was
I know
gonna-
who Jimmy Bell is.
right, he's going to be on the show, but I'm getting ready for the interview and I'm listening to all the things he's been through with him, joined forces. Joan Jett liked him. He went on tour with her. It was in the movie Light of Day. That fell through because that guy quit the Barons business. Then it's between him and Zakk Wylde. They picked Zakk Wylde, but Sharon Osbourne loves him so much she gives his number to Geezer Butler. Geezer Butler calls him up and says, "Yeah, I want to start a band. I'd love to have you as a guitar player." Management does something crooked. They break up. Geezer Butler, he writes a song called Masters of Insanity. He goes, "We're Tony Iommi, we're reforming the band with Dio. He will never ever play a song that wasn't written by him, so I have to tell him that I wrote it, but we're gonna pay you." Never heard from Geezer again. Finally, Dio wrote.
Did he get paid?
Never got paid.
Oh, come on.
I'm listening to this. I cannot wait to talk to him because just like you, he goes, "It was actually worse because I was so close so many times and bam, everything fell through at the last minute."
Dude,
It wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't the 10th guy in line with Zakk Wylde. It wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't in the band with Geezer and management didn't pull that.
Yeah. But for my first solo album, like when I did it it was a small record label up in Canada, but they had distribution through Sony. I still have the ad that they put in a magazine up in Canada, and it has me and the album and Sony and all that shit. It was like, dude, it was right there. It was right there. I was right there. Again, I was right there. And I did that one on my own. I don't even know how that happened. But yeah.
No, I know, but I like the fact too, because it's becoming more and more popular now are the tribute bands. And one of my favorite tribute bands was you guys did Alcoholica, which was and I'm not a fan of Metallica now anymore. I like the first 3 albums. I love Master of Puppets.
I was gonna say, you and I,
yes,
we have stories of you and I riding in my stupid little Mitsubishi Priestess in 1989 or whatever, blasting "Injustice for All."
Remember it well.
Filling the car up with beer cans as we went. Oh yeah, good times.
Oh, yeah.
Good times.
Great times. But I sort of after Injustice for All, there are a couple songs in the Black Album I like, but then I lost interest with the albums after that. And then when Some Kind of Monster came out, I really lost respect for them. And I know Rick Rubin brought them back, and I like some of the songs, but to me, the first 3 albums will always be my favorites. And that's what you guys did. You played the first 3 and some of the Injustice for All stuff, and I loved it. It was just a fun band, and you played some pretty big places. For people who don't know, I'm in the Connecticut area, but you played Lake Compounds, you played the Oakdale, which is a big theater in Connecticut. So you had some good shows with that band.
Yeah, we did some really big shows. There's a Webster show that was ridiculously packed, and that's like that whole show is somewhere on YouTube to this day. And that was like I think the year before I moved out here, like 2006 or something.
That's the perfect segue, because I want to talk about what prompted you to finally pack up and say, "I'm going to LA, I'm going to Hollywood."
Well, there are a lot of things leading up to it, that's for sure. All those near misses were some of them. The lack of opportunities was another, and spinning my wheels playing music for my life, you know what I mean? And not getting forward, you know what I mean? I'm not good at that. I'm not a business guy. But I did, during all that madness, I had written a script. And what happened was when I was signed to that label up in Canada, I actually had started writing it then. And I mentioned it to someone while we were in the studio making that first album. And that guy mentioned it to the head of the label. Now, the label also dealt with film. This is a weird, sketchy story, though. So he asked me to see it. The head of the label calls me up. He's like, "Hey, Dale was telling me that," I think it was Dale that told him, that you wrote a script and I'd like to check it out. And I'm like, okay. I'd never written a script before. I'm like, all right, I knew it was a good story though. So I sent it to him. Next thing you know, without asking me, he has it all printed out and a business plan and he's just started sending it out immediately. Alliance Atlantis, a film company. I think they're only based in Canada, but like it's a big film company. Made an offer immediately. Yeah, but they led me on. They still wanted to do it, but what the idea was, I'll do this as quick as I can. The idea was, since I had an album coming out with that label, since I had written the script, at the time I was like 30. It'd be perfect age to play this guy that's in it, right? And I was like, this would be great. I'll be the guy in the movie. We'll sell the record. So the movie was be a whole. And I brought them the whole thing. I handed it to them, right?
Package deal.
They're all saying yes, 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 up until the very last minute. So at the very last minute, when we're about to sign stuff and, all that stuff's coming to a head, the big, the Lions Atlantis guys are on board. Turns out they'd already hired Jason Priestley for that role.
Come on.
Not kidding. And I was like, and me being me, maybe because I like to shoot myself in the fucking face every now and then, I have no fucking idea. But I was like, no. And I just said no. I said no. And they said, well, he made the head of the company made the deal. I was like, well, he can't make a deal because he doesn't own it. I never signed anything with him. It's my movie and I'm leaving. And that was what happened. I just left. But I kept that in the back of my head forever. I was like, holy shit, that was the first people that ever looked at it. Literally the first people made an offer. As a matter of fact, they quintupled the budget that he went to them with was 1 million. They came back and said, let's do it for 5 million. Right? So that happened right off the bat. So I knew I had something like a backup plan. And finally around after doing Alcoholica for a few years, I was doing the Tokyo Death Squad at the same time, sometimes on the same night, playing the same gigs. And I just got tired. I got tired of that vibe over there. Man, I'm not denigrating anything, but there is a crab in a barrel mentality over there. And Opus knows this very well.
Yes, he does.
When you start to do well, everyone tries to call you down. And I mean, everybody. They may say they love you, but as soon as your back is turned, and it's like, I can't live with that. I mean, I know I'm in LA. Who the fuck, what am I saying? Look where I live now. But for the past 15 years. But it's not the same because I don't know them, or it's a bigger place. And actually, I can make things happen anyway. So I just go, screw you, I'm going to do this. But yeah, that was when I decided. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to play James Hetfield on stage anymore, especially because that was happening. We were drawing huge crowds. Dude, I was making good money. We were drawing huge crowds. It was killer. And I hated it. I enjoyed it on stage, but I also hated it. I'm like, I feel like a phony, man. I don't want to be James Hetfield. I did when I was, when we started playing, you remember, I wanted to be James Hetfield way back in 1988. But yeah, so so what happened was I found a small company and I optioned that same script, which I then rewritten better. And made an option with them. So I just came out here. At first I was just going to be the writer. And then when I moved out here and I started having meetings with them, I was like, you know what? I got to do more. So I was like, I'm going to prove that I could direct something. I have no film experience whatsoever, but I immediately crazy.
We have plenty of time. There's no time limit on this show. Take your time. I want to hear this story because I'm interested because I love film and I'm curious, when did you get your interest or how did you develop your interest in film? Was it around that time or did you always want to be a musician / filmmaker?
Since I was a little kid, I always wanted to be a musician, movie star, all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I got older, I realized how much attention I was paying to how movies are made. And I realized that when I'm watching them, I'm studying how this, and what I like about movies and what I like about good movies and bad movies and all that stuff. That's when I was like, ooh, I could definitely do this. And at first it was writing because I like to write, and then it grew from there. And when I was here and I was going through these meetings with this small company, they were small, and this script is pretty weighty, right? It's pretty meaty, and I knew it was going to take there's a lot of things that happen in there in between too. But in order to prove I could direct, because that was kind of a bone of contention. Everyone says it out here, like, if you've never done anything, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, shut up, I'll fucking figure it out. Exactly. So I was sitting on my fire escape because I live I live right in Hollywood, like Hollywood sign's right there. And I just sat in my fire escape, which is right outside my door. I'm on the top floor. I have the penthouse up here, smoking a cigarette. And this whole story went and downloaded into my head, just looking at the Hollywood sign. So I wrote Cupcake. And from the time I wrote it, getting it all together and have it made, it was 1 month. It was just boom. Everything from soup to nuts, from concept to completion, 1 month. And then maybe another couple of weeks with editing and stuff. You know what I mean? Because I had to learn how to edit to make it. I had to learn everything while I was doing it, but I knew what I wanted. And even on set, everyone was saying, they tell me a lot that they work with a lot of directors who don't actually know what they want. A lot of times directors are just not really directors, but I know exactly what I want. And I'm walking people through their actual physical movements, the whole 9 yards, right? That's what you're supposed to do, But yeah, and then Cupcake came out. And as always happens, this went from the old demo days, you release something and no one cares. And then the Satan documentary came out, and Cupcake was mentioned at the end of it, and it blew up. It just blew up online. It's still it's at 576,000 views now, but it's, I mean, that was like a landslide. It just all of a sudden happened. It went viral. Everyone went, it has a fan base, for God's sake. It has its own stupid fan base. And they talk about, not stupid, but you know what I mean? Like crazy fan base.
Yeah.
It still gets 800 to 1,000 views a month. 11 years after I put it out, it's still, yeah. And that started everything.
I've seen it at least 5 times. I love the story. It's a short story, and it's about aging in Hollywood. It's great, and it stars the woman from Gray Skies, which we'll talk about in a minute. Yep. I want to go back a little bit because the screenplay that you wrote, I'm guessing it was called Riding with Medusa.
Oh yeah, yes it was.
You let me read that. That was an excellent screenplay. I could not wait for that to be done because you sent it to me years ago. And the reason I'm going back to that before we move on is because at one time we were talking about this. You had Fairuza Balk ready to be in the movie.
I got a strange story about that.
There.
So Fairuza, yes, when I wrote the script, way back when I lived in Connecticut, I had seen, and it wasn't the craft, I had seen the craft, but it wasn't the craft. It was called Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. And she was in that. And her character in that was so, I was like, that's her, that's her. So I cut out a little picture and I taped, you know, in the old days when you had to like, you know, you couldn't just print everything. It was crazy, but yeah, I got a little picture, put it out and stuck it on my computer and wrote the script with her face on it. So fast forward to Jesus. So what year was that? Oh my God, fast forward to a long time later, to 2007. So 7 years later. And I'm out here and I go to a film, not a film thing, an art show out in was it in the desert? No, it wasn't Palm Desert. Where was it? I can't even remember anymore. It doesn't matter. But it was an art show. You know who was there showing stuff? Fairuza Balk. Do you know who I'd been talking to online before that? And I don't even remember how that happened anymore. Fairuza Balk, but she never met me. And I go there and she's there and she's outside and I walk outside. I'm like, and she's got like, it's not an entourage, you know, people are always, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And I start walking over and I'm like, I'm Kai. She jumps up. It's like, oh my God. Start hanging out. This is all true, man. This is insane. We ended up becoming really good friends and we spent a lot of time together. We spent our weekends together. I think we spent Thanksgiving and Christmas and just hanging out. And I finally, after like a year of us being friends, I showed her Medusa after a year. Now she's already older by this time, but she could still pull it off, right?
Yeah.
And so I let her read it. I tell her everything about like what happened. I also had a Christina Ricci story for you on that one too. She was also almost involved. And then Fairuza loved it. Her exact words to me is the best fucking thing I ever read. That's what she told me. We were good friends. She didn't have to say that to me. She could have said, you know what I mean? Yeah. However, things being what they are, most companies that we were going to were not interested in her anymore because she wasn't, you know, people, it's the business. It sucks. And oh boy, there was one that was, and I got offered a lot of money and something bad happened with that too. It was a lot of money. My butthole tightens up when I think about it. It was a lot of money.
Did you turn it down due to creative differences?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And it was another one of those stories where it was, and I'll say the budget was that they wanted to give it was $25 million. I'm not kidding.
God.
But it was another bait and switch. It was another like, yeah. The whole thing with Fairuza being in it. Yeah, that's cool. The whole thing with me directing it. Yeah, that's cool. And then it was, let's sit down and make it Twilight because it's a vampire story, but it's older people and it's supposed to be, and you will lose everything if you make them all young and pretty. You totally lose the story. And it was that. And I was like, I can't have this conversation again because I've had it before, but not with that kind of money on the table. But I was still like, I can't, me being naive, I figure I'll get another deal. Like, I'll find somebody else. No,
Well, I want to go back till Sylvester Stallone that because when Rocky, he first wrote it, they said, we love the script, but we do not want you. He's like, well, I'm not doing it without me. He goes, no, then you're not going to get it made. And luckily it worked out for him where he stuck to his guns. He starred in it and it won Best Picture in 1976. But
yeah,
you hear stories like that, but you hear there's a lot more stories like you, unfortunately, where
it's so
all right,
bad.
you don't want to do it, then fine. And then the next one doesn't come up for the longest time.
Well, I just said no. I mean, I literally just said no. I was like, I'm not doing that. I won't, I can't. The story is literally like too personal to me. Although I would say now, after all this time and at my age now, all right, here you go. Just give me the money. Fuck off. That's great. I'll take. At this point, I have other scripts now. I didn't before, but I do now.
You know, it's
Dig
funny.
it.
Ben Affleck always makes fun of that doing Kevin Smith movies. He'll say, you know, I make the big budget movie where I get the money, and then I do these small movies, and he looks at the camera with a wink with the Kevin Smith movies, just because I want to have some fun with my friends. He goes, I'll do the big movies, even though I really don't want to do them for the money. But this, I do this because I really love this. So
it's absolutely true, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would never, I'm not that guy. Like everyone always says, you should do this in the business, you should do that. And I gotta be honest with you. I don't know where I'm at. Like, I'm a weird person as far as like creatively, like I can't work for somebody else that way. I've already found that out. Like directing something for somebody else, unless you're going to step out of my way, I can't do it. I literally can't do it. It's like just my vision is so specific. And it's the same thing with like, well, you should do music for somebody. You know what? I can't, because I don't want to be sitting here going back and forth with notes and this and that and blah, blah, blah. I don't get paid that much anyway, unless you write something fantastic, which by the way, I have and could. But you know, it's like, take what I got or at least let me do it first. You know what I mean? If there's too many, there's always 1,000 cooks in the kitchen. There's always people with zero creative input who want to have creative input. And they're the killers of it. They're the killers of all of this. They're the killers of all creativity, all art, and it is supposed to be art. I understand it's supposed to like have commercial value. I'm not stupid. I write things with commercial value. I get it. However, let me make the movie I want to make. You know what I mean? Or let me make the music I want to make. It's like, I can't do things by committee. I just can't do it. I'm not good at that. Just shut up. Let me do what I do. You like what I do? Great. Shut up. Let me do it.
I hear so many directors complain about this because they'll make the movie, then they have the preview audience, and after they watch it, they'll say, well, get rid of this. We don't like this. They said, I put 5 years of my life into this, and you're going to have 10 people tell me they don't like this, so take it out. That's not right. So
Right.
These people have no idea about the creative process. They're just watching it. And I know what they're thinking. Well, that's the average movie audience, and this is what they're going to look for. Not everybody wants the same thing. There's going to be an audience for anything. Do you find it easier now with the streaming services to get your product out?
Well, to get it out, yes. Now, you know, you make something like I just released an album in late 2020. And getting it out's easy. Go through CD Baby. Next thing you know, it's on every platform. You know what's hard? Getting people to listen to it. How do you let people know it's there? There's a billion things out there. It's like you walk out the door and you're just suddenly in a tidal wave floating down the stream of a billion different other bands, music, whatever's out there. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know how to do it. I suck at all this, man. I suck at like online presence, just any of that stuff. I'm great at the art part. I'll do it in 5 seconds. I got it all. I do it. It's everything else after that. What do I do after that? I just got I was back and forth with one of the actors for Gray Skies, who we reconnected after a long time. And so I just sent their script and we'll see what happens with that. Said she had money, so we'll see. But again, dude,
That's the woman that was in Cupcake?
No, this was this girl played Annie in Gray Skies. She was like Anne Griffin, great actor. She moved out to New York like very, very recently. But yeah, Medusa is actually the movie that she's bringing to this person. So, but I had to do all this weird editing of that. Another thing I hate doing, because the guy won't read anything with descriptions. I'm not joking, that are more than 3 sentences. That's fine, but you know what I got to do that? You know, I literally have to go in now, because that script, there's a lot of stuff where there's no talking. You know, I'm like, how am I going to do that? How are you going to know what's happening? So yeah, whatever, man. I'm Rich.
Speaking of weird
I love this, but I hate it at the same time.
Oh yeah, I can imagine, because it's so disheartening. You put your heart and soul into this, and you have a great product, and just like as you said, to get people to look at it, get people to watch it, and just how they can completely throw it away and say, you know what, next.
Most time it doesn't even register. It doesn't even hit. It just goes ba-boom, 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 right? Bounces off the head even. It doesn't even go. It just bounces off the head. Nobody gets it. But when they do get it, the thing that bothers me the most about here especially in LA, so bad, nobody will help you. Even though I have friends that could. Even though they're my friends, they don't. And that's the truth. No offense to them, whatever, it's a thing out here. Nobody will help you, even if they love what you have. Even if they're in a position to do something to help you, they won't. You know when they'll help you? after you've done something big, and then that's the only time anybody wants to actually help you out.
They want to jump on the bandwagon. They're worried right now that they're going to help you. You're going to make it big, and then they're going to be left behind. It's sad.
Or they're going to be attached to something that makes them look bad, or if it doesn't do well. You know what I mean? It's optics, man. Everybody's about optics, but also selfishness. It's selfish too, man. It's almost like they don't think of it, but then when you ask them, it's like, what? Like, well, I don't really, that's what it is. It's always, well, I could do it, but I don't really want to call in that favor. And then I'm like, oh, okay, fuck off. Okay, got you. You're welcome for putting you in that other thing, though, by the way. You're welcome for that. That's great, you know. Okay.
Exactly. How quick they forget, unfortunately. Well,
as soon as they walk out the door.
Yeah, you went to Hollywood. I didn't see you for a while. Wasn't sure what was going on. And then a movie came out, and I said, wait, I think I know him. It was a documentary entitled I Sold My Soul to Satan. So I want to talk about that. I know we talked about it. I'm sure. Yeah, so I'm sure you had so many interviews, and it's been it's a documentary where
that's the only thing anyone ever paid attention to besides Cupcake was that. Yeah, and it always comes up.
Yeah. Well, the reason I want to talk about that is because I find it interesting, and I love your take on this, because you did it just to get some notoriety. You really don't believe in heaven or hell, or at the time you didn't. You just said, hey, you know, it's going to get me some notoriety, and let's do it for fun. And supposedly you were going to sell your soul to Satan and become a movie star / music star, rock star. So tell me about your experience with that movie.
Oh boy. So here's how it started, right? So all I saw was an ad on Craigslist, and it said, do you want to sell your soul to the devil on TV? Now, I'd only been here for like 4 months at the time, and I was like, oh, what a great story that would be. Now, I don't expect them to cast me at all. I was like, this would be a great story just to go to the audition just because. So I'm like, all right. So I go, they have to send me like a release form, you know, all that stuff, because you're going for the audition and stuff. So they send it to me, I print it out. And I put it, for some odd reason, I put it in a manila envelope. This is going to be important later. You know, the ones with like the metal foldy things.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm driving downtown. I'm still unfamiliar with the area. And I get to this building that I'm supposed to be at. And oddly, parking right in front. Never happens, but there it was. Like right, one spot right in front. I'm like, oh, awesome. This is going to be great. No, it's not. So I go, I'm like, now I'm running a little bit late because, you know, traffic is traffic here. So I'm real quick. I'm like, I better take this release form out of here so I can just go inside and go up the elevator all the way up to the top, because it's on the top floor. Of course it is, in this old crappy building. And so as I'm taking, this is very important, as I'm taking this thing out that I signed, I slice my thumb, I don't know how, wide open, and bleeds all over that particular piece of paper that I just signed for this devil thing. Pretty weird. But I'm not thinking about that then. At the time, I'm just like, oh shit! I got blood all over it. I run out the car. I'm still bleeding. I'm holding the thing in one hand, and you know, the more you run, like your heart pumps, the more you bleed. I'm running. I'm bleeding. I get to the door. I get there. This big giant dude's like, elevator don't work. I was like, are you kidding me? And it's a really old building. So I'm running up the stairs, and I'm winded, and I'm like, oh, and I'm bleeding, and it's like, now it's down my arm. I'm bleeding, and it's all like that. And I get to the top of the stairs. It was the weirdest top of the stairs I've ever been in. I get to the top of the stairs. It's no longer a hallway. It's just like this, like behind me, like this, and just a room, like a door. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. How high up am I in this building? But I can't, now I'm bleeding all over. I don't want to touch the door. So I kick the door in, literally just kick the door in, and I jump in, and I'm like, did I make it? I'm bleeding all over. And they're like just finishing up with like the last guy. And there's only 2 dudes in the room and that guy. And they're like, and it's all white inside, by the way, stark white with just the light and all that stuff. Yeah. And so finally they get me bandaged up and cleaned up, and they sit me down. And then I have this 2-hour interview. I wouldn't shut up, man. I don't know. They kept asking me stuff. I just kept talking. But after I left, I was like, okay, that was fun. You know, I'll tell this story later. It'll be great. And then oddly enough, I got the call when I went back to Connecticut to do one last show with Alcoholica that I had told them I would do. So they flew me back out. And as I'm at Toad's place doing sound check and stuff, they call me and they're like, yeah, so you're the guy. I was like, what does that mean? You're the guy. They're like, yeah, we want you to do this. And I was like, what? And so, yeah, and they're like, well, it seems like a rock and roll thing to do. And you're the most rock and roll guy that I've ever seen. So, and plus they thought I was funny. Whatever. But yeah, so that's started the whole ball rolling. And after that, it was weird. Very, very weird, man.
Talk a little bit about it, because throughout the whole documentary, you basically have to go through, you talk to several people who tell you what to do and what path to do. You go into these health food stores, buying these different things. I think they want you to kill a goat at one time, or a sheep, or whatever it was.
Dude, I went into there's an actual like wholesale witchcraft store downtown. Like,
yeah.
Like the Costco of like witchcraft stuff. It was huge. It was like a warehouse. We went to that. And I had to do all that stuff. I had to buy all the right things. I had to learn from Jimmy from Pan Pipes. It's like, it's not even here anymore. I think I moved to Pan's Apothec. I think Vicky still owns it. But at the time, Pan Pipes was the oldest occult store in the country. Oddly enough, another Firuza Balk connection, she used to own it. That's a weird thing too. But yeah, so Jimmy, her and Vicky owned it at the time, and she like walked me through all the steps and all the stuff, and I did crazy, stupid things. A lot of stuff that didn't make it in the documentary, by the way. A lot of stuff that didn't make it on there. A lot of crazy stuff, a lot of stupid stuff. They made me do stupid things, put me in stupid situations.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure out the tone of it. You know what I mean? Was it funny or was it scary? Because I could do both, you know? And, but yeah, and it culminated in a ritual, basically, there was taking my blood. Oh my God, all that stuff. Signing, I had to make the ink to write the pact in. They took me to a lawyer to figure out how to make a really good contract with the devil, like a big time LA lawyer. That was crazy.
What were the reactions to? Sorry to interrupt you. I was going to say, what was the reaction to the lawyer saying, "What do you mean sell my soul?" Did he take it as a joke, or did he think that it was just some kind of act? Like, okay, whatever. This is never going anywhere. I'll do it.
Well, it's LA, so I'm sure he's used to crazy shit, and he was a good sport about it. He just did it. I just did it. I just went along with it, because even I was like, really, this is what we're gonna do. So, but I did it. Why not? Sat at the big, and of course it was the big long wooden table like you see in the movies, where like I'm here and the lawyer's way far away like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so stupid.
That's funny.
It was fun at the time, and also weird. And I wasn't really sure what I was doing. The closer it got to the actual ritual, the more uncomfortable I got about the whole thing, because I was feeling, I don't know, I don't believe in that stuff, but I'm like, do I really want to mess with this? Do I really want to do this? You know, I got a good thing going. Everything's happening for me. Why am I fucking with this? I don't know. And that kind of bothered me a lot. And I, you know, in hindsight, it was like, that's myself telling me I should have gotten the fuck out before I did it.
Was there ever a time where you said, I'm not sure if I want to do this, and you were going to leave the movie?
Yes. There's a scene. They left that part up, but they did talk to me. I guess what happened was I told one of the guys, I was like, I don't want to do this. This is just getting too fucking weird. At the point where I had to like starve myself for like the week before. I had to not sleep as much the week before. It was getting really crazy. I had to write the same thing over and over and over again. All the stuff I was going to say, but I had to literally, like, I forget how many times. It was a crazy amount of times. Yeah. I had to grow a stupid tree in my house where I had to cut the wand from. I had to do all this stuff, and it was getting weird. It was just getting weird. But yeah, they were like, they called me up to like, all right, let's just finish it, you know. And so that's when then they talked to me, and I explained to them like some of the weird stuff. But then of course they always led me back to saying all the shit that I'm like, that I get shit for now. I'm saying, you know, like the devil's the one that told God to go fuck himself. I did say that. It is true though.
Yeah, no,
it is true. You know, I wasn't lying. I mean, that's the truth.
Well, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, because I rewatched an interview you did with Sean Stone, who's Oliver Stone's son. That was a great interview.
He was a good dude.
Yeah, you could tell. He seems like he's really down to earth, and he was interviewing. He wasn't making fun. He was really interested in what you were talking about.
He was passionate about it.
Yeah. But you had so many great views. You and he had a great conversation on religion, and you were talking about the devil. Like, basically all he did was show people the truth. What's so bad about the guy? God said, "I'm going to show you the truth." So he kicked him out of heaven. What did he do wrong?
I'll always stand by that. I'm not on any side of that, but from like a just logistics standpoint, from someone just like looking at a story like from the outside, right?
Yeah.
Like, just, I think I've said this before, but I think I messed it up when I said it before. I think I might have said it on Buzzsaw with Sean Stone. The whole thing that bothers me, well, it's not the only thing. There's a lot of it. What you just said, that bothers me. But the other thing that really bothers me is Adam and Eve. Just hang out for a second. So Adam and Eve, and it says clearly in the Bible, I've read it, that they were innocent, right? They did not know right from wrong. They didn't know anything but this glorious place that they lived in. So when a snake slithers in and says, hey man, eat this apple, even though God said don't eat it, how do they know this is a bad guy? Because they've never seen a bad guy, right? They are a talking snake, first of all, might freak me out, but to them, I guess it's like, hey, what's that? And they know, oh, go ahead, eat it, it's fine, right? How do you punish someone innocent, right? Like they literally don't know. Like a little kid who does something wrong for the very first time, like takes a cookie when off the table, even though you said don't take a cookie, but they don't get it yet, right? And literally, like if you have kids, there is a point where that doesn't register yet. And they're like, oh, cookie, right? They just take it, start eating it. Do I cut off their fucking hands and then curse all their ancestors for the rest of time because they stole a cookie? No, I'll never get it. I'll never understand the logic of that. And I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this all over again, but I can't.
You are welcome.
I'm just that guy. I can't. I would love to believe in all that stuff. I would love to believe. Go ahead, tell me. Shit, man, I'm 52. I'm getting over on that other side there. I would love to believe that at some point, winged angels come down and I go up to heaven and see all the people I never liked on earth to begin with. That sounds terrible. But you know what I mean? It's supposed to be nice up there. I'll just avoid them. I'm sure there's a place for me up on the top, right?
Yeah.
I would love to believe that. Who wouldn't?
I know.
But
well, I can tell you, I have a lot of problems with organized religion because I think organized religion is filled with parables that teach lessons, and basically it's all about creating order. They want order. I mean, the 10 Commandments to me is filled with God basically took in the 10 Commandments, God has the worst traits of humans: envy, greed, jealousy, hatred, prejudice. Yep. Oh, and that's God. I always make a joke. I said, in the Old Testament, God was this angry prick, and then he had a kid and melded out in the New Testament.
Yeah, seriously. But it's like, even though those two testaments is like literally like two different guys. It's like two different guys, and it's completely contradictory of each other. Like exactly. So much of that is contradictory. None of it makes any sense. I'm sorry, but the whole story doesn't make any sense. I'm still not clear on how sending. Oh boy, I'm going to say it anyway. But I'm going to think, who cares? I don't understand how sending your son to die for everybody's sins saves everybody, but only if you believe in him. Only if you believe in him, right? That's what it is. So you have to actually believe in him, and completely. Like you could do all of the bad stuff, but if I believe in him, like I'm saved. But first of all, how did him even dying? Two things. How is him dying a sacrifice? Your father is God. You're not gonna die. You're coming back. It's not a sacrifice. It's not a I'm sorry, but it's not. If I go up on it, it's a fucking sacrifice. Then, shit. My dad's nobody. My dad was I don't even go there, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
No. It wasn't a sacrifice. I don't even understand the logic anyway. So he died for your sins. I'm sorry, what? No. How does that work? How does that work? I don't get it.
My favorite comedian of all time is George Carlin. And George Carlin, I love actually the later years. I love the
when he got cranky and cantankerous. Yeah. Yes.
But what's great is he did this whole take on religion, and I'm paraphrasing, but one of the things he says, he goes, there's this invisible man who lives in the sky, and he watches everything you do. He gives you a set of rules, and you have to do this and follow that. If you don't, you're going to burn and die and burn in agony. But he loves you.
Yeah. Here's one of the most egregious parts about that whole thing. Like, because one of the tenets of this whole thing is like, right, you could be, and I remember this clearly because I was an altar boy when I was a kid. I grew up Catholic. I walked away from it, but I heard all this stuff all the time, and it's all guilt. Everything is guilt.
Oh my God,
it's if you could be the one that bothered me the most as a kid. I never forgot it. All your good deeds are as dirty rags to the Lord. Okay, that's fucked up. That is very uncool, man. That just is not cool. But so nothing you do is good unless, I guess, if you just say you believe in Jesus or something like that, right? So, but you could be the greatest person in the world. This is what they say. They actually say this. Well, not in the way I'm going to say it, but it is the same thing. And all you got to do, it could be everything, man. You could get up to those pearly gates, and what is it? St. Peter, is that the guy at the gates? I don't know. One of those guys, Paul, Peter, Ringo, whatever. One of those guys is at the gates, right? And you get up there and you're all excited. I'm like, oh, I made it, right? And they're going through the checklist. Oh, yeah, gave to charities. What a sweet guy. Was very loving. Never cheated on his wife. You know, and then all of a sudden, ooh. Do you remember that time when you went to what is it, Burger King, and you had 2 hamburgers? That's gluttony, son. That's gluttony. And the big old, wing, like they pull you off with the candy, and then you go, falling down into hell because you ate a fucking extra hamburger. It literally says stuff like that.
Well, the worst thing
make
is,
sense to me.
if he ate it on Friday, forget it. He's really going to hell.
Of course he is. That is unforgivable, and we can all see why. I mean, that makes so much sense.
There's a great documentary on religion from Bill Maher called Religulous. It's a take on religion and ridiculous, but he takes it seriously in a funny way, meaning that he goes to the Vatican, gets kicked out, he goes to all these different places, and he's asking people, and basically it's the same story handed down over and over and over again. There's one religion I actually do like, and I started going to the temple once a week. It was a while ago. They had the Korean service, but they had the American service. It's Buddhism. I just love what they have to say, because basically it's more of an atheistic religion. There we go. But they're all about karma. It's like basically treat people the way you want to be treated. If not, you turn into a bug. But still, it's another story.
But at least it's pretty loose that way. Depending on, like you said it was like a Korean form of it. Yeah, it's pretty loose with this interpretation, depending on who it is. Like, hey, come here, honey. Just say hi. This is my daughter, Henry.
Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. You have a great dad.
She's like, whatever, I'm gonna go to the bathroom now. Like, Buddhism is very lax in a lot of ways. There's nothing like if your Thai version of it is like, because my daughter's half Thai, so I've dealt with that before. The asshole who dumped me is also Buddhist, and from a Vietnamese standpoint, so I saw that too. So yeah, it's like it's not rigid. It doesn't have all these weird. There's something so awful at the core of those religions, all the Abrahamic religions, really awful and very human about it. Does not seem like a god. It seems very human. You said it before, like about control. It is about control from a lot of standpoints. And then someone just got crazy with it, and then like, let's add the gluttony thing. That's cool. Let's do this. Let's do that. That's why it's funny. I can't remember this one
verbatim, but there's another take of George Carlin where he takes 10 commandments and breaks them down to 3. Actually, it's 4. The last commandment is thou shalt keep thy religion to thyself, and then he bows. But it's great. He takes it down. He's like, first of all, he goes, this is just stupid. You can combine. He goes, you can't commit murder. Can't commit this. He goes, combine that. That's stupid. Just get it out. It's great the way he does it. Look it up online for people who haven't seen it. I will. Yeah. But I want to say, what really got me into Buddhism was listening to the Dalai Lama. I'll tell you what I mean. This guy is you can tell he's a fun guy. He's very open-minded. He loves astronomy, and I guess he's really into the stars. And they said, and he loves science. He said he's really into science. So they said, well, what would happen if science proved everything about Buddhism is wrong? He goes, I go with science. Imagine saying that. Imagine any other religious leader saying that. And he said, somebody goes, well, I bet you want everybody to be a Buddhist. He goes, no. He goes, when you go to a restaurant, not everybody has the same food. He goes, whatever gets you full and happy to where you're supposed to go, I'm happy for you. Nobody would ever say that in any other religion, because it's all about control. And I want you to think like us. Everybody else is wrong, but we're right.
And intolerance is also every other thing. Like, you literally like complete intolerance of anybody else, which I'm not going to touch that with the 10-foot pole, but that's what's happening also now in the world. But we ain't going to talk about that because there's no way I'm going there. Because it's just too crazy. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's intolerance. And like Buddhism is more like, it is none of that. It's just like, okay, cool. That's your thing. All right. I'd like to show you the way. And if you're into it, cool. If not, all right, see you later. Good talking to you.
I grew up Protestant, and they took us to the Catholic church on a field trip. They gave the bowl, passed it around, people put in the money. They looked at it like, yeah, we didn't get enough. We're going to do it again. I started laughing. I thought they were kidding. They were serious. I went to the Buddhist temple. They said, you know what? I hate saying this. You know, if you want to put money, it's over there. He goes, I really don't even like talking about this. I just hope we can keep the lights on. It's going to be a rough winter. But he goes, don't feel that you have to put money in there. Complete opposite of, yeah, we didn't get enough. We're going to pass it around again.
And you know what usually happens is the Buddhist temples get a lot because people feel like they're doing it out of a want and like a genuine, like, okay, this makes me feel good. Let's all face it. That's why you do it. It makes me feel good. Maybe I'll get a little something from Buddha, you know, but at the same time, it's like, it's an open thing. Nobody's pressuring you to do it. And everything else is like, you know, you're an asshole if you don't drop something into that. Oh God, I remember those stupid collection plates when I was a kid. Oh,
yeah.
It bothered me. Like I'm looking around and I'm seeing gold chalices and giant crosses made of solid gold or whatever the hell, you know, and you're asking me for money? Get out of here.
He's almighty and all powerful. Why can't he handle money?
Yeah, and why are the priests living so badly? Where's the money going? Who's taking it? Where's it going to? It's not going to charities. I know they say it's, you know, but it's not. It's not.
Then they don't have to pay taxes, which is another story. But there's so many things. You and I are on the same page. Organized religion. I'm not putting down anybody for their beliefs, but just organized religion to me is man-made, and it's all about control. It's all about money, and I just think that there's a reason why a lot of churches close over the years, because people are just fed up with it and they're becoming more spiritual. They're not going with the Catholic religion, Protestant religion. They're saying, I believe in something, but I don't believe in this, which I do like the fact that people are finally opening their eyes. I met Penn from Penn and Teller, and he said his proudest moment was he was in a Catholic school as a kid. He got kicked out for making all the other students atheists. He is so against religion. I love listening to him talk, and he was at a book signing in New York, so I was talking to him for a while, and the guy is hilarious, but he and I were going back and forth just like you and I are now, and he said exactly the same things we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how is it any different than, I mean, really, if you read the Bible and all that stuff, the crazy things it says and all that, and anybody's religion really for that matter, it's like Lord of the fucking Rings. It's just a fantasy tale of morality and lack of morality, and I don't know, it's just whatever. None of it makes sense to me. I think it's very obvious what it actually is. And it's also a way to keep people divided, which I've always noticed. Like, it's not inclusive. It's not like, I know they love to use this words, but it's absolutely not inclusive. It's like, if you do not do, you could be in their stupid little thing, and if you don't do exactly what they all do, they're on you like flies on shit. It's like this truth. And with vitriol, with actual like hate, it's really strange. I've gotten death threats, actual death threats because of that Satan documentary. Actual death threats. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's it to them?
Yeah. I don't know. People get offended. People get angry. Like if you, and I didn't even understand what they were talking about. I was like, did you watch the whole thing? You see that, you know, it actually didn't happen, you know, that kind of thing. And did you hear anything I said in that at all? No. I must have said the one thing, you know, that
or they saw the cover where you're on the cover. It says, I sold my soul to Satan. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Before they even bothered to open up the DVD cover and put it in and hit play, they were already writing you death threats. There's a lot of that too.
There was one guy that I usually ignore that stuff, but there was one guy who I did something about the way he said it. I was like, you know what? Fuck you. And I wrote this guy right back. I said, hey, asshole, would you watch a 70-minute documentary? You think you know me? So you didn't know anything about me. Because he said like some fucked up shit. Like he was describing like what he wanted to do. I was like, go ahead. I was like, here's where I live. And then he apologized. He's like, I was drunk. I was something about his old lady. I was like, I don't care. I was like, read back what you sent to me. Read back what you wrote to me. And then we'll talk about that. I was like, and at the time, my daughter was here, you know, and well, you know, this was a while back, but she was still, I think she was like 2 at the time. I was like, I got a 2-year-old daughter. I'm a single dad raising a 2-year-old daughter. You're going to talk to me like that? Better come ready, son. Better come ready.
The bottom line is you never saw anything, nothing negative ever happened from that movie.
That's untrue. That is actually not true.
All right. Well, then let's talk about it.
I believe it was energy, it's not Satan. I've never saw anything like that.
Okay.
What did happen was after the ritual, well, during the ritual, one weird thing happened. I've told this story a few times, but a lot of times. But during the ritual, it was in a, what you saw, like, it was in this big cement thing. It was in a ghost town, an abandoned town somewhere way out in the desert. This is this big cylindrical cement thing. And while I was repeating the words I was supposed to say, the actual chant, whatever, for one split second, it felt like everything went and disappeared. Like everyone, because there were people there filming, all that shit was going on. I felt like it all disappeared. And I could have swore I heard chanting. And then, but it was very quick. And then it was all back. But keep in mind, dude, I wasn't eating or sleeping like as they wanted me to, right? Yeah. So it could have been that. Afterwards, though, the next day, so after the ritual thing, we drive back, stay at a friend's house, and I put all the stuff, I collected the candles, I kept all the stuff. I was like, oh, cool. I got the wand, I got the pact, I put it in a box. The wand is sticking out of the box when I go in the house. When I came out the next morning to go home, the wand was like split in two. And it was like the V part and then the handle part, but like each end was like exploded. It looked like it exploded. Like, and it wasn't like that when I put it in the car. No one was in the back seat, nothing happened. It was just sitting in a box. And when I came out, it was on the seat, split in half. So after that is when everything started going slowly, gradually. At first I did Cupcake right after that. That did really well. And then I got hired to direct Gray Skies, and that was going well. And then all of a sudden when the documentary actually came out was while I was on set in Michigan doing Gray Skies. And that's when everything started. That's where the bad stuff started. But I believe it was, if you get enough people to dogpile, the energy that creates, the negative energy, whether it's good or bad, it could either ride you up or it could crush you down. And it was all crushing. It was all. And I swear to God, it tanked like everything for me. It took me years to get like out from underneath that rock.
I did know some of that, but I didn't realize it was to that extent.
It was pretty bad. It was like everything I didn't want in my life came into my life. Everything. So yeah, it was unpleasant. And it's still here sometimes. I still feel it.
I want to get into this because in the interview with Sean Stone, you were talking about the paranormal as well. Because I'm a huge fan of paranormal. I think a lot of it is bullshit. And I think a lot of people put their name in the paper, but I think that there is something out there. And I have a really cool story. I'll tell mine really quick. I went on a ghost tour, not too long. I actually spent the night in the Conjuring house, the real Conjuring house in Rhode Island. Never felt anything, never saw anything. I go on all these ghost tours. There was one in Mystic, Connecticut. And they said in this room or in this place, 2 young boys died in the Civil War period, but they have a great sense of humor. They love showing themselves. So I was across the street, and without a flash, I took a picture. And I'm so glad it happened when we had the phones where you could zoom in, zoom out. I saw a little blur on the left corner of the window pane. I said, "What's that?" So I zoomed in. It's clear as day. I'll send you the picture. 2 young boys. And so I said, let me just make sure that it wasn't the flash, which I knew there wasn't any. So I took about 20 more pictures. Looked inside the room. There was nothing there, which I didn't think there would be. But I never felt anything. Never saw. I mean, I do have other stories where lights flashing on, but just nothing major like what you're talking about. In the interview, I want to talk about you. I don't know if you remember this. I'll refresh your memory if you don't. You had a Ouija board that you made, and you were trying to contact your friend.
Yeah, that's a true story. So we made a Ouija board. Stupid kid, teenager stuff. And while we were doing it, a friend of mine, a teenage friend of mine, had just died. He was like 13. He was hit on the side of the road, right? So, and that's the first time something like that had ever happened to me. And so I just wanted to know. I wanted to try and contact him because we were edgy metal kids, and we asked, like, said it was him. You know how that stuff goes. Just no, blah blah, right? And then I just said, where are you? And it went, in hell. Now I'm thinking that somebody's doing this until the thing went flying across the room. And then the coldness that, like, I'm getting like goosebumps. The coldness that filled that room was unbelievable. And it was summer. Freezing. It got freezing in that room. But I mean, I don't know what that was. Like, it definitely wasn't him. It definitely was, maybe we just opened up some pathway into something else. I don't know, vortex, who the hell knows? But yeah, that did happen. That's a real story. I've got a few of them like that, but I'm always one of those people, like, I'm like, I don't know.
Even
if I see something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think at least, maybe not 95%, but at least 75 to 80% of it can be explained by other situations. But there's that 25% that, like, what the hell is that? So I think that there is something out there. And you also have an interesting take on aliens. Let's talk about that.
Oh yeah.
I love talking about aliens. I cannot say, I'm going to start off right now by saying, with this vast universe we have, and people ignorant enough to think that we're the only life form on this whole universe we have in front of us. Oh yeah, we're in. Come on, really?
They'll always give you the same thing about, well, how would they get from there to here? You know how long that would take, blah. You know what? I think they've been here before we were here. I think they made us. I absolutely believe that. But this is a true story, man. When I was 25, I was abducted by fucking aliens. And it's the truth. I woke up in the middle of it. I woke up, I was unable to move. And that was the first thing. I just snapped awake. I was like, what the hell's going on? That was the first thing I thought, like, what the hell's going on? And I was unable to move, completely paralyzed. The only thing I could move was my eyes. And I could see right over my shoulder. And what I saw was a head, a neck, long neck, his shoulders. But it was like a blue glow from the inside. It wasn't filling up the room glow. It seemed like it was glowing, but not filling up the room. It was fucking unbelievable. But I don't know if you've ever had a fear sweat, like when something, like the primal fear, like I immediately broke out in a sweat. It wasn't slow, it was immediate. My entire body just went boom with fear sweat. The kind that smells bad, like that. And I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. I passed out. That's what happened. I passed out. When I woke up again, everything was the same. Only I could wiggle my toes and I could still move, but I was still like slick with sweat. I laid there at 25, a grown man, like I would not move. And I just watched, the window was like right there. And I just waited till the sun come up. I wouldn't even look around. I wouldn't even nothing. I was that scared. I didn't know what that was. It took me a few years to figure out what happened. I thought ghost. I don't know what that was. It was horrifying. And it really happened. I was right there. Eventually, thank you, internet, way back in the old dial-up days, remember those? And,
hang up the phone! Hang up the phone!
I gotta make a call. Hold on. But I started looking things up, and I came across a very similar story from somebody else, and then I found another one, and another one, and then I really started digging into it, and I realized. First of all, I realized what happened right away. There was other stuff that happened, but that's very hard to explain. Before it, it's kind of hard to explain because it's going to sound stupid. Right before that happened, I was being plagued with apocalyptic dreams for like a few nights before that happened, like where the world was blowing up, and one of the dreams was, but it felt real. This needs to be said. Before that happened. And this was all within the same few days. And I was floating above, this is gonna get really weird. I was floating above like hills and they were black, burning, smoking, everything was smoking. And it said to me, these are the caustic mountains. There's a voice, someone with me, and they're talking to me and telling me what everything is. I just look up the word caustic at the time and I was like, holy shit, burning hot mountains, it's true. Then it brings me somewhere else, to a city that's just demolished. And I know it's going to sound strange, but it was here. Now, I'd never been here before, but it was here. It was downtown LA. And it was definitely what I look at outside my window. It was that, the hills, the whole thing. It was the Hollywood Hills, for sure. For sure, I saw it. So all that stuff happened right before the actual waking up in the middle of what was an abduction. As I was looking everything up, I realized that that's not the only time it happened. And then I remembered the specific incident from when I was like 8 or 9 that happened, and all of it started to come together. Fast forward about 3 years. I'm with a girl. I was married to her actually at the time. We're sleeping. Oh no, it didn't start out that way. That's wrong. We went to the park. We used to live in Brantford, and we went to a park. And her name was Shannon. And so we went to a park at night, just hanging out. We used to do it all the time, just walk around, you know what I mean, whatever. And then all of a sudden, we both felt what was like static. This is a true story. She confirmed this for me after I told this on a different podcast. I had to contact her, and she confirmed everything I said. It was like static electricity. It was very strange. We were both like, all the hair standing up, that kind of thing. We're like, what the hell's going on? Next thing I know, we're home. And I don't remember how that happened. That's also true. Have no idea like how we got home. All right, that's weird. But I didn't really think about it either. That's even weirder. It didn't come to me until later. Like, how did we even get home? I don't remember that. So we go to sleep that night. And we both had an experience. When she woke up in the morning, she was like, oh my God. She's like, I had a dream. This is what she told me. That the room filled up with heavy darkness and little doctors, she said little doctors, took us into a van with no wheels and we went up into the sky. When she got out of bed, as she's telling me this, she had like bike shorts on or something, like girl bike shorts. So she had a bruise here and here on either side as if she'd been, and same with this leg, here and here, as if she'd been like shackled down or like held down. True story. That very same night, my dream, again, I thought I was awake when it was happening, that the room filled up with black smoke is how I remember it, but that could be wrong. And there was a guy, so I drew this, by the way, I never forgot it. There was a man standing at the end. My room was like a long room. And on the outside of that was like the woods, but it was just a wall. It wasn't even a window there. And he went like this to me. He had a spacesuit on, like a big helmet. I know what this sounds like, but it happened. It was a dream, but was it really? Because I was awake. I was sitting up in my bed. I was watching it happen. And he went like this. And the whole wall disappeared. And I could see outside. And next thing I know, we're just going up. And like I could see like everything like from down. That actually happened. She was there. And that's not the only thing that happened with her. There was a bunch of other stuff too. She even reminded me of stuff. I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. This whole week of crazy, crazy shit. Real stuff. Those things really happened. She was my witness. And she told me only a couple of years ago when I contacted her, I didn't tell her what I saw or what I remembered. I just said, what do you remember? I still have her email. She sent me a very long email. And at the end of it, she said, nothing has happened like that to me before or since. And I always felt like it had something to do with you. And I just happened to be there when it happened. That's just told me. So yeah.
I've heard so many similar stories. That one of my favorite stories with alien abduction is Betty and Barney Hill. I'm sure you know about them. And the reason I bring that up is because under hypnosis, she drew a map of where they were. And they said, no place. It doesn't even exist. It wasn't until years later when we had the technology to realize that, oh, wait, there is that universe out there. So the fact is, like, how did she draw that under hypnosis saying, I was here? I mean, it wasn't from her imagination. It was something that she said she saw. So yeah, that's just one example of many. I am a big fan of the paranormal and the aliens, and I've read so many different things. I never had any personal experiences of my own, but I can tell you, growing up, my father used to take a 6-pack of beer in his sports car. We used to just sit outside, drive around in his dark, isolated road at the end of the road, just wait for aliens to pick us up. So that was my childhood. So I never saw anything, but we were always ready and willing and able.
You've not even seen a UFO before?
I don't know if I did. I mean, I've seen lights in the sky that seemed odd. There was one where it's like 12 stars in a row and they were just moving. I don't know if it was definitely unidentified flying object because I didn't know what it was. And it wasn't unless it was 12 airplanes in a row, which I don't think it was. So that was probably my only experience of seeing something that, what the hell is that?
On the set of Gray Skies, actually, they called me back on a podcast because one of the guys who was on the set, remembered that. He was telling the story, like, you got to get that guy on here. I want to hear the story from him. They witnessed it. Also, we saw, so the night before shooting, I got a little party, big bonfire, like outside and stuff. And me and a couple of the guys are like just talking, walking through the woods because we're in the middle of like a giant compound in Michigan. And as we were walking, I don't even know what happened. I think it was like a sound. It's hard for me to remember exactly why everybody looked up. But a green spiral is the best way I can explain it. But not like a round spiral. It was a little bit squarish. It was fair, and it was spinning at the same time. And it was like misty. It was like made of green mist is the only way I can explain it. It just moved across the sky, and I don't mean fast. And it was big, by the way, like it was huge. And you could just see it. It went across the sky. And just as it disappeared, another one showed up, boom, out of nowhere. And that was when one of the guys to my left screamed, and I'm not joking. He screamed. Like, we were like, he scared me, like with the scream. He screamed like a girl. And it went across the sky, and the whole sky lit up when it disappeared. Wow. And we were like, what the hell was that? And we're on the set of an alien abduction movie while that happened.
Well, I want to say, go back to my story. Now people who are watching this, oh, Rich, you probably saw drones. This was back in the early 80s. There were no drones back then. So this is definitely something that was unidentified flying object. So I just wanted to clear that up.
No, that's important. That's important. Same with the 1995, my first thing of the abduction. I didn't know that was a thing. The internet wasn't there. I didn't read books on it. I didn't know anything about any of that. So the chances of my story matching up with a shit ton of other people, like all of a sudden I was like, that's what happened to me before any of this, before anybody knew that this was a thing. I didn't know it was a thing. I had no idea, including the nosebleeds and all the crazy shit that happened to me afterwards, all of it. So yeah, it matters. It matters to say stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, just because I'm sure people will be watching. Oh yeah, sure. All I saw was that, thinking that maybe it was last month I saw it. No, this was early 80s. And back then there were no drones flying around in the sky. So, and you said it perfectly, because I did read a lot in UFOs. I still like watching different documentaries on the subject, and most of the stories that you're telling me are just like yours. So there's, and for you to do that without even, now we can say, oh, he just read that. He's copying somebody else's, right? No, as you said, that didn't exist back then. So you're just going from your experiences. You had no idea what other people did. And that's what makes it so much more valid. And
I thought it was crazy.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, after it happened, I thought like either it's a ghost, which I don't really believe in that much, or I was fucking nuts. Because I was awake, man. Everyone keeps telling me that too. Everyone keeps saying, no, it's sleep paralysis. I was like, dude, I was awake. I was so awake that I had fear sweat, right? And that part, and the fact that it smelled is actually important. That kind that goes, like, it just stinks because it's supposed to like ward off like whatever our primal thing is, that. And I was sitting, I remember, I was awake. I was not sleeping, and I passed out. That's how scared I was. So yeah.
I interviewed a person on this show who wrote several books on the subject, and he said that he's revisited over and over and over again throughout the years, that he has some kind of connection with them, and they're always like to come back. So what your ex said is very accurate to what other people say. He said, I don't know what my connection is, but they're always visiting me and at the weirdest times. And he said the same thing. Actually, it's funny you say this, because one of the stories was he woke up in a room and there were all doctors around him. They were aliens, but they were doctors. If you watch, I can send you the interview after, but
I got it. Yeah. I just, as we're talking, my daughter had an experience that she didn't know. She told me I should have her get her drawings right now. They're right out there. I made her draw this one. This is a couple years ago that it happened, and I've asked her 2 separate times to draw what she saw. She said she called him an alien. Was standing in her bed. At the end of her bed, she said he was very small. She described it to me. She drew him for me. Hey, Riri. Get your alien pictures, would you please? They're in that thing. I'm not even kidding.
I don't see this.
The other part was like the head is one thing, it's like the eyes. She specifically said the eyes were rainbow around it, but that wasn't what got me. When she drew the rest of the body and drew the hands. Now, when she drew it, she was probably, how old were you, like 6 when you drew it, 5 or 6, something like that? It was the hands. 3 fingers with like pods like on the end, which everybody says they have. She didn't know that. She had no idea. I just had her draw for me. Can you?
Dad, I can't find it.
You can't find it?
Here?
Come talk to Rich for a minute. Here, put these on. She can tell you a story. Come here. Come here. You can just tell your story. I'm fine. I'll find it real quick. I promise. Sit down so you can see it.
All right. So yeah, tell me your alien story.
So I was just sitting in bed, and usually I would just wake up, and I looked like right at the end of the bed, and I saw like an alien, and I was like so scared. So I just put like the blankets over me because I was freaked out.
How big was it?
Maybe about, my estimate is probably about like 4 feet or something.
Did it have a big head?
No.
Did it look more human than alien?
Huh? Did
it look more human or more alien? Because I know there's different types of aliens that have the they call it the grays. Did it have like gray skin with the big eyes?
It's even labeled Kinnery alien drawings.
Here.
All right.
Okay,
this
okay,
is-
very good. Thank you, honey.
All right. Thank you very much for the story.
All right, we'll close this 10 so I don't hear that. All right, so check it out. Yeah, I forgot all about this. I mean, you know,
Wow, this is
real. She specifically drew the hands of the alien. Where's like the face? Okay, this is the first one she drew. This is a year and a half apart. This is the first drawing after it happened. So she didn't draw fingers. This is what, I don't know if you can see it.
no, I can. No, it's perfect.
Okay. All right, so that was the
Wow.
first right after it happened. Take a good look at the rainbow stuff around the eyes and all that stuff,
Oh, yeah.
right? About a year and a half later, we were talking about it again because she also tells me that he's come like 2 other times. She says he's like her friend. That's what she said. That's what she said. This is the one she drew. Let me see if I can get. Okay, a year and a
fingers right
half
there.
later. Yeah, and then I had her draw because she drew the fingers like that. I said, "Can you do me a favor? Can you draw those hands again?"
Wow.
Okay, take a good look at that. She doesn't know, and she's, by the way, she draws very well. This was not like some like kid accident. Like, look at those cup suction things or whatever they are around it.
Exactly. No, there's
That's my kid.
definitely there's some kind of connection, and it sounds like it's with you.
They say that it's generational. I've heard this, that it's also could be generational, where it's like they will, maybe they're following like your DNA. Who the hell knows what they're following, but something, to keep an eye on something, so it becomes generational. So like your kids will have it, and you know, maybe my parents, I mean, it was probably my real mother was a nut job. She was.
Maybe she was an alien.
Yes. Well, I am adopted, so that's always done. Maybe I'm an alien. Who knows?
Yeah, no, again, you and I have very, very similar beliefs when it comes to religion, aliens, and the paranormal.
Yeah.
And just a lot of weird things happen. And I want to get back
I
to
even,
what was that? Go
real
ahead.
quick before I forget, I saw one because I've only gotten to tell the story once, but this is also a true story. And I also wanted to illustrate like how, because people always say a few things when you see something messed up like that. They always say, why did you take a picture? Or why did you tell somebody? Interesting story. So when Gargantua Soul was playing, I think we were playing in like Boston or something. I think maybe Saugus. I don't know, somewhere in Massachusetts.
Okay.
So I'm standing outside. We loaded in already, and I'm standing outside smoking a cigarette. There's a bunch of other people outside. It's still light out, right? I'm just looking up at the sky, smoking a cigarette, and it's overcast, totally overcast. Shit you not, on my life, this happened. A black disc lowered slowly out of the sky, went right over my head in the straightest line I could ever imagine, just like that. And then just as it went away, it just slowly went back up into the sky, as if I was only supposed to see it. The weird part about it was I couldn't say anything to anybody because I was so shocked at what it was, because it was really close. It was like right there. And nobody else saw it, only me. But I couldn't say anything either. And I was, you know, I'm always looking up because I'm weird that way. But yeah, things happen and you don't have the wherewithal to say, hey guys, you know what I mean? Unless it's scary. And it wasn't scary, it was just shocking, right? And it was so brazen, like in broad daylight. And it was like I said, it came out of the sky, I mean, out of the clouds, went and then went back up. It was almost like, hey man, what's up? Thought that was you, and then went back, right?
Now, I know that I'm not sure what you believe or what you know, but there's different types of aliens. As they say, the Swedes, they have the Greys. What type of alien contacts you? Is it the Greys? Because that seems like they're the most common that come down and contact humans.
Honestly, I wouldn't know. I think what I saw with the abduction thing was light, but I could see the head. I could see a figure, but it was like light inside. It's weird. It was like made of light, kind of, but not really. I could see that there was something else to it. So I've never actually like gotten a good look. I mean, she's had a good look. I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm guessing if there are like those different ones, I mean, there probably are. Who knows? I don't even know. Like the tall, what do they call them? There's the tall grays, the short grays, the big nose grays. There's the Nordics.
Yeah,
there's
Nordics.
And the reptilians and the this and that, which by the way, I think the reptilians, like, I've always been here. Oh, and I also believe that they exist under the ocean. When people are like, you know how long it would take to get here? I think, motherfucker, they have been here for so long that they probably have entire cities under the ocean. And I never thought of this until they started with the USO thing, you know, under submerged whatever objects. But there was a story before I moved out here. It's probably like 2004 or 5. Actually, something happened in Brantford that was similar, by the way, right before I moved out. There was on the news, on CNN, the news. I remember I saw it. Someone filmed right off here, it was off the coast of Malibu, a swirling whirlpool going into the water with lights. And it was going down, like there were lights in a round shape, and it was like a whirlpool was being caused because it was going down into the water. Yeah, someone filmed that. Never saw it again. I still can't find it, but it was on the news. I watched it happen. I watched it. And in Brantford, I don't know if you remember this happening. It was, I don't know if it even made the news that well, but people were reporting from Canada all the way there, something falling from the sky that actually landed. I don't know if you remember, like there's like a Brantford beach, like in Brantford, there's like that. It landed in that fucking bay. People called all around. I still have the clipping somewhere. I saved it. People called all around. That's something they thought an airplane had crashed into the water right there, and they never found anything. They all came out. They came and looked. They didn't find anything, but they were tracking it, or people had seen it all the way from Canada to there, and it landed in that thing in Brantford, Connecticut, of all places. Never found anything, but everyone called. They thought they said it was so loud and so bright, and then it just like went into the ocean. They thought a plane crashed.
I'm gonna look that story up. I never heard that one, but I believe that they do have underground bases. I think that under the ocean, and it's like you, I really think that they've been around for thousands and thousands of years, and they'll show themselves when they feel like it. It's not like they have to.
I don't even think they ever will.
Yeah,
I don't think they care about us at all. They're just like, let them hang up there. It sucks up there anyway.
You guys are too fucked up for me. We're staying right here.
You got hot tubs and amusement parks down there. Come on, you know it. Casinos, and they're probably way better than ours.
I know. Oh, that's funny. When's the last experience that you had?
The last one, I'm trying to think of Grace Guys was before the one that sighting there. My daughter having her experience, and then there was the silver orbs thing, which was really, really strange, and that was a couple of years ago. Actually, it was right before she was born. So it was like 9 years ago, I guess.
Anything recently?
Nothing. Yeah, as happens with me, it's cyclical. Stuff will happen, and then nothing will happen, and then all of a sudden stuff will start happening again. So, hey Riri, we did remember that thing I filmed, and I called you outside. That was going. All right, yeah. I'll see if I saved it. I had to figure out my phone because it was like long, but I'll find that. We did see something. I forgot about that.
You know what? I think I read that in one of your Facebook posts. You were outside smoking and you saw something in the sky. I'm pretty sure I read this.
A couple of things. Holy shit, dude! Now, like, this is how messed up my life is. I'm like, some of the most amazing things, and I'm like, nothing happened. But yeah, stuff did happen. 2 things happened. Both very low. Oh God, I wish I could show you. It's dark out there, so I can't show you like what it looks like out there. But yeah. One thing. So I'm smoking a cigarette. I know what you're talking about. This is what happened. I just saw like this. It was goldish, like gold. It was shiny, like kind of shiny, but gold. And I couldn't really tell the shape of it, but it looked like oblong a little bit. I was thinking drone. This is what I was thinking, because they do exist. It went right past me, like not close, but like across the street. So Hollywood Boulevard's like right there. So it was like across the street. There's a building here, and then there's a higher building there. So I saw it go, and I'm watching it again, just like in utter disbelief. But I'm like, it's got to be a drone. That's what I kept saying. And went behind the bigger building that's right there, right across the street from me. Oh shit! Hold on.
Okay.
You still there?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, my battery's dying. So it goes behind the building, and I think it's gone. I think it's a drone. And all of a sudden, it shoots straight up into a cloud that's like not too high above the building. And inside the cloud, it was boom, 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 like lights, but like big gold lights, like and then up from that, boom, gone in the sky. That actually happened. I saw that with my own stupid freaking eyes right there. So yeah, I forgot about that. That was only, Jesus, that wasn't even that long ago.
No, yeah, several years ago. It wasn't that long ago. I remember reading that.
No, that was a different one. This
Oh.
one was literally only a few months ago. The other one was the other one I was going to tell you, but yeah, that's the most recent one.
I love those pictures that your daughter drew, because I've seen pictures of people who describe aliens that look exactly like that. And as you said,
And she had no
she has
reference.
no idea. No, exactly.
She had no, I don't let her watch scare. I've only just now let her start watching Star Wars and stuff like that. When she was doing this, it was Disney princesses and nothing violent, nothing scary, nothing anything. She didn't know anything about stuff like that at all. I mean, she sees some of the stuff here, but that's just skulls and shit like that. You know, she's used to daddy, but no alien stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, as Steven Spielberg said back in 1977, we are not alone. I believe that.
Definitely.
Speaking of Spielberg, it's a good segue to talk about your movies again, because you mentioned after I Sold My Soul to Satan, you did Cupcake, that won a lot of awards. Was your next one High Road Dreams of Vengeance?
Hero Dreams of Vengeance actually was something I did. I got a call from a friend of mine to direct she went, they were doing, there was like an Asian film festival, and she's Japanese, and it was like an all Asian crew, and she wanted me to direct it. And she wrote it, and we had to do it in one day. So it was like, and I was all in for that. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So most of it's in my apartment. Like that's all my building that you see in the film. That's my place. But yeah, that was a lot of fun too. That was definitely a lot of fun.
I was gonna say, I think out of all of them so far, that's probably my favorite. So it was just so tongue-in-cheek. It was hilarious. And the poor guy, his wife treats him like shit. He's always dreaming of killing her, getting revenge on her. And then he wakes up and goes, oh shit. And my funniest part is, without giving anything away, and it came out a while ago, was where he's thinking of dropping the thing while she's walking the dog. And then he sees this. It's like, no, he killed the dog. And she's over there laughing.
Did you see like the newer like, well, it's only, I think I did it last year, or maybe, yeah, I think I did it last year, where I just, that one scene where the dog wasn't in it in the original thing, because we didn't have time for anything like that, but I actually put the dog in it this time. So it was actually there. So now you can see, like, you know, that it was the dog. I mean, you knew, but it bothered me always, because I could see that he wasn't there. So yeah, I put the dog in there. But dude, that was a lot of fun. That was Sachiko Ishida wrote it and started it, and Kongwo also started it. He was, dude, that guy he's a great fighter and like a very athletic guy. He will kick my ass, your ass, and probably fucking 4 other of our friends all at the same time. But he's the goofiest dude in that in Hero Dreams of Vengeance. He's awesome. I'll never forget how great he was. Really great dude to work with too. I'd love to work with him again. What a nice guy.
You could tell he has great comedic timing. And speaking of, when he finally dreams of killing her with the knife, and then she rips off the mask and just starts kicking his ass, and I was laughing so hard. The whole thing is great. And I did watch both versions of it, and I forgot, I haven't seen the old one in such a long time. I forgot the dog wasn't actually in it, but now that was my question. What did you add to it? But now I know you added the dog. But that was, and it's another short one, but it's great. It has, and you did the music, I think.
Yeah. Yep. I edited it. I shot it. I directed it, edited it, and did all the music for it too.
Where'd you meet these people?
Sachiko, I met at a film. What was it? A film festival, a small film festival. She was in like something else, and we ended up talking. Like I think before we were like outside. We ended up talking. Yeah, I forget. You meet people as just stuff happens.
Yeah, exactly.
And we just ended up being friends. And then, she called me like out of the blue to do that. Because, you know, again, if you know what I do, you know what I do. She's like, yeah, we want that. I'm like, all right. Oh, yeah.
Did that end up going to win any awards like Cupcake?
We didn't. What happened was, it was supposed to be for a festival, and it had to be a certain, like we had a time frame. And we had to cut it down to a really, really short. And it wasn't working. It was pissing me off. And we were like, by the time she found out about this, we had one day to shoot it, and then probably like 2 or 3 days to get the rest of it together. That was it, no time. And we didn't make the deadline for it at all. And then she just kind of, you know, it's like, oh, okay. And then so they walk away from it. I'm like, no. So I put it all together the way I wanted to put it together, and then just put it out that way. But I mean, like I said, getting anyone to see anything is like, it's almost impossible. I wish people saw that. I love that one. I love that one. As far as like my competency in terms of like getting that story, like all that stuff right. Because, you know, I'm just reading words off page, but I know how I want to do it. And I think that it was all there this time. So
definitely was.
you know,
And for people who do want to see it, check out Kai Blackwood's YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. He's got a lot of great videos on there, the music videos, but he has Cupcake. He has Hero Dreams of Vengeance and other things on there, which I'm going to talk about.
all my albums are on there.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm bringing this up because I think we talked about Cupcake winning all these awards. I think award shows are the worst, and especially the Oscars' biggest joke. There was one year though, and the reason I'm bringing this up because I saw a post of yours when it came out. The only time a Best Picture I thought actually deserved it was 2 years ago when Parasite won, because I love that movie.
Love it.
And
Love it.
the fact, you know, it was one of those movies where I saw the trailer and I said, this does exactly what a trailer is supposed to do. I had no idea what the movie was about. It was a teaser trailer. It made me want to see more. I had no idea. I walked in there. I ended up seeing it 3 times in 3 days. And
Dude, 100%. It blew my mind. But I knew it's Bong Joon-ho, dude. Bong Joon-ho is awesome. He's only gotten better. Like over, you know, what he did, like The Host. And then you ever see Mother? He did Mother. Oh yeah.
Mother. I saw The Host, Mother, and there's another one I saw. I can't remember the name of it, but I've seen several of his movies.
I want to say the Yellow Sea or something like that. I think it's called. There's one more in there.
He's a great writer, director. And it was funny because I said, I'm so glad it won for Best Foreign Picture. I said, it would be the greatest thing ever if it won Best Picture, but it's never going to win Best Picture. When it did, I said, finally, an Oscar season where whoever deserved to win it actually won it, instead of giving them the Lifetime Achievement Award. Like the woman from Titanic who had a 90-year career wins for a 3-minute role. You didn't win because of the Titanic. You won for the last 35 or 40 years. This is the one time I said, this movie was great. And there's one that came out this year, and I hope it wins some kind of award. It's called Titan, about a woman who gets pregnant by a car. It's
what?
Yeah,
that I don't know.
It's great. It's another Asian movie. I love it. And she came out with another, I can't remember her name, but I rented a movie after I saw this one in the theater. It's called Raw, where she's a vegan. She eats meat for the first time and she becomes this killer. It sounds weird, both movies.
No, it doesn't. That sounds about my kind of film.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to bring these up, because I just saw Titan spelled Titane. And
I'm gonna like walk with this because I gotta get to, just so we don't lose my power. I'm gonna get it. But
Yeah,
tell me who directed that one?
That one I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. I can't remember her name right now. When I saw it, I did look up her, and that's when I started trying to see other movies that she did. And there was only one other movie, and it's great. So if you look it up, Raw and then Titan. I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. Titane.
All right. So we'll definitely look that one because I love anything weird like that.
Oh yeah, and it's one of those movies I'm watching. What the hell is going on? I can't wait to see what's going to happen next, and it did not disappoint.
Awesome. Hold on. Sorry, I'm gonna get this
Go ahead.
plugged in. Am I plugged in? Oh wait, not yet. But yeah. You're ready? Yeah. I'm still here. I just don't have my headphones because I got this going now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Sort of. Talk more.
All right. I can hear you fine. I'm not sure if you can hear me though.
What is it?
Can you hear me? I guess that's
I can't
a no.
hear him. Hold on. I'm just gonna put this back in and we'll just scroll along and we can go. Damn it.
Okay.
Huh? It's not that, baby. I just I want to be able to hear. I can't hear him at all.
Now can you hear me?
Sucks like that. I might have gotten a couple seconds more out of it.
Okay.
All
So
right.
with your phone's can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you, but my phone's dying.
I mean, I have probably about like 9. I mean, we can talk for a couple more hours, really, because there's so many different things to talk about. So do you want we can maybe finish with one more question and then we could stop it. We could record the second part some other time. Because
Sure.
there's definitely more I wanted to talk about. I mean, I'm having such a great time talking to you about everything. movies, music, religion, all the paranormal, UFOs. That's I can go on and
Yeah.
on. All right, so
Me
we'll do
too.
is we'll talk about this, and then we'll finish with the movies, and then next segment we'll talk about Kai Blackwood and Tokyo Death Squad. How's that? We can talk about.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
What I want to talk about Eerie Little Productions. What is that?
Oh, Eerie Little Pictures is just the name that I give my production company for like anything that I put out. That's
Okay.
it. It's just my production company name. It was a poem I wrote a while back, and I liked it, so I was like, yeah, that works. I'll use that.
Oh, and so you have, how many pictures do you have on Eerie Little Pictures?
There's just really the two, and then I put out like a couple other stuff that I kind of put out and then I take back, and I don't know. I put everything out like under that, even like music videos and stuff for like, you know, because that's my YouTube channel is Eerie Little Pictures, so all that stuff is on there because I shot 4 music videos like over this pandemic. I think in like 4 months time I shot 4 music videos.
which I want to talk about because I love the concept of these. Like one is filled with claymation, and there's so many great. I love the videos. I want to talk about that in our next segment. But before we do, there's 2 questions I have left before your phone dies. Hopefully I can make it through this. What the hell is Fly Sex the Motion Picture, first of all?
Okay, that is true. I was sitting at a light in the rain over on Western, and it just 2 flies were banging on my windshield. So that's exactly what it was. And I just was like, no way. And I just put the thing up to it. And then afterwards I made the music. I made all the music, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. And that's all it was. It was just a stupid thing that I did.
I realized I was watching a fly porno at the time.
Yeah. That's all it was. 2 flies doing it, like in real time.
And the last question before your phone dies is, I saw a teaser trailer in 2019. It was called Little Fire. What's going on with that?
That is a film I really, really want to make. And what I did was I did that as like I don't know, just to help like get it going with anybody, you know, as part of the pitch. But again, I just suck at this in terms of like getting people to, you know, everyone always loves it. And then no one knows like what that's what I mean about people not helping you. Like there's people that I know that read it and genuinely love it. Like I won't tell you what they said, but they really loved it. It's probably the best thing I ever wrote. And yeah, it's just something I want to get made, but I suck at like, you know, how the hell do you get people to give you money, man? I don't know. No idea.
That Kickstarter or whatever you were doing with Gray Skies, really it's the only thing I could think of. I'm not sure. When it comes to that, I'm not really sure what the best way to go about it, but it sucks when you have people that can help you but are just unwilling to, or worried more about their reputation or their status than helping out a friend. And I can see your phone's gonna die.
Yep.
All right, well, you know what, Kai, you have to come back because I didn't even get a chance to talk about Kai Blackwood and the Tokyo Death Squad and what you're doing now. So you gotta come back. All right. It was great talking to you. We already talked for 2 hours, and I just got halfway through the interview. So we have plenty to go.
All right.
That wraps up the latest episode of Claw's Corner. Kai, you're going to be coming back soon for part 2. We'll talk about Kai Blackwood and the Tokyo Death Squad. I want a huge thanks goes out to guitarist, singer, actor, screenwriter, composer, director, editor, and my friend of 34 years, Mr. Kai Blackwood. And I would also like to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in every week. Enjoy your day, everyone.
of a sudden I hear, brim, brim. What's a diaphragm again?
Ha! We caught one.
They're supposed to be weird.
Oh, yeah, no. If you say so.
I've always wanted to be in a movie.
Waiting around for autumn, waiting around for autumn.